Hello again and welcome to my beginner's knitting series. So by now we learned how to cast on, how to knit and how to purl, and today I will show you the ease of the stockinette stitch. Are you ready? Let's do it. So we casted on our stitches on our main needle. We have about 20 stitches, and you're going to take your working needle and you're going to begin by making a row of knit stitches. So make sure you take not your end yarn but your working yarn, the one that is attached to your yarn ball. And let's begin to knit. Alright, so knit is a stitch, purl is a stitch, stockinette is a pattern. Stockinette is made out of one row of knitting stitch and then one row of purl stitch. And the addition of both of those rows together creates the stockinette pattern. So for example, if you would do a swatch made out of all rows of knit, that would be called the garter pattern. So when anybody says, oh, I'm doing something in the garter stitch, that means that it's rows and rows and rows of knitting. The stockinette is made out of one row of knit and one row of purl, and the stitch that it creates is the basic knit stitch that you will mostly see in a lot of the pattern, and it's that dainty stitch that you basically have a really hard time recreating in crochet. Alright, so you're done with your first row of knit. All your main stitches are on your working needle, and now you're going to take your working needle, which becomes your main needle now, and you're going to make one row of purl. Exactly the same way I showed you how to purl. So if you need to refresh your knit and purl stitch, I have these tutorials in my playlist on my YouTube channel. So go and have a look. So you see, we are purling right now, coming from the right to the left, in the front leg of your stitch, as I showed you in my tutorial previously. And the stockinette stitch will look like this on the right side. So the right side of your work will look all smooth, like those little V stitches, and the wrong side will have those little bumps. One side, the right side, is totally smooth, and the wrong side has those little bumps. Stockinette stitch in front of you. This is all there is about it. One row of knit, one row of purl, one row of knit, and one row of purl. This is our third row, which will be a row of knitting. So every odd row will be knitting, every even row will be purling. And you will continue like that, back and forth, back and forth. One row of knit stitch, one row of purl stitch. And this is what your work will look like after about 10 rows of stockinette stitch. Look how pretty. See the difference between the wrong side and the right side? That is stockinette stitch for you. And now that you know how to cast, how to knit, how to purl, how to make the garter stitch and the stockinette stitch, I think we are ready for our first project. So come back soon for our first knitted pattern together. And yes, you guessed it, it will be a scarf. See you soon, and in the meantime practice. Happy knitting and bye!